All right, welcome. Today, we are going to tackle a word that we all use constantly in asset management, but let's be honest, we rarely stop to actually define it. And that word is value. Now, it sounds simple, but trust me, getting this right is the absolute bedrock of everything we do. So let's dive in.
So let me just kick things off with a question for you. When you really think about asset management, what is the one, single, most important concept that underpins the entire discipline? Now, your first instinct, your gut reaction might be to say, well, it's the asset, of course. And you know what? That's a great answer. It makes perfect sense. But it's not the whole story. We need to go one level deeper.
Because the real answer, the concept that truly gives an asset its meaning in the first place, is value. Without value, an asset is just, well, it's just a thing, right? A piece of stuff. It's the value that transforms it into something meaningful. So, let's unpack that.
And look, it doesn't matter where you look. Whether you're digging into the formal ISO 55000 standards for asset management, flipping through IFRS accounting rules, or even just opening a regular old dictionary, when you define an asset, one word pops up every single time: value. Every one of these definitions completely hinges on this idea that an asset is something that possesses value.
So, that brings us right to the heart of what we're talking about today. If we all agree that an asset is, at its core, something that has value, then we're forced to ask the next, and frankly, much more interesting question. What on earth is value?
Okay, so the official gold standard for asset management, ISO 55000, gives us this beautifully simple and elegant definition. Value is simply the benefits obtained from assets. Now, what's really fascinating here is the word that's missing. Notice it doesn't say financial benefits.
And that is 100% intentional, because value is a huge, sprawling concept. It can be something like service performance, the reliability of a public utility, a reduction in risk, or huge gains in safety. It can even be something as intangible but as crucial as your organization's reputation. It is so much bigger than just a dollar figure. But, and this is a big but, here's the catch. While value can be all of those wonderful, broad things, organizations live in the real world. They have to make tough choices. They've got to allocate capital, they've got to mitigate risks, optimize entire portfolios. And to do that, all these different flavors of value, they have to be made comparable. You have to be able to weigh them against each other. And this right here, this slide just lays out that core tension perfectly. On the one hand, you have what value is, these big, vital concepts like safety and sustainability. But on the other hand, you have how decisions actually get made, which is almost always about quantification. We're talking net present value, benefit-cost ratios, expected loss. You get the picture.
This quote from the source material absolutely nails it. Not all value is financial, yet almost all decisions are economic. We have to find a way to translate these broad, important concepts into a common language so we can make structured, defensible choices. Because without that quantification, decisions just dissolve into opinions.
So here is the crucial point, the thing we can't forget. We should never, ever confuse the tool with the concept. These financial metrics, they aren't the essence of value itself. Think of them as the practical decision language that organizations have to use to compare apples and oranges and make those tough trade-offs. Okay, so this leads us to our next big question, doesn't it? If value isn't just money, and it's not some magic property that's automatically baked into an asset, then where does it actually come from? Who gets to decide what's valuable? And the answer is, value isn't something you find, it's something that is created. It is defined and shaped by the organization itself. It flows directly from the top, from its core purpose, its strategic goals, what its stakeholders need, and its frameworks for governance. Value is fundamentally a top-down concept. This is such a critical idea to get our heads around. An asset, whether it's a building, a piece of software, a fleet of vehicles, it has zero inherent value on its own. It only becomes valuable if, and only if, it helps the organization achieve what it set out to do. Period. Without purpose, there is no value. So, when you put all of these pieces together, it starts to feel like maybe, just maybe, many of us in this field have been starting our thinking from the wrong place this whole time.
You see, for so long we've been asking, what is an asset? But perhaps the more powerful, the more truly strategic question we should be asking ourselves is this:
what do we as an organization truly consider valuable, and how do we prove it? See how that just completely flips the script? It reframes the entire conversation.
It moves us away from focusing on things and forces us to focus on outcomes and purpose. It demands clarity on what really, truly matters.
And that brings us right to the ultimate takeaway. Assets are passive. They don't create value all by themselves. It is the organization, it's the people, the processes, the strategy that creates value through the intelligent management of those assets. So I'm going to leave you with a final thought to take back to your teams. How does your organization truly define what's valuable? And maybe more importantly, how do you measure that and how do you prove it in the decisions you make every single day? Thanks so much for watching.